When husband-wife was going somewhere from the car on road, a fire ambient from behind their car collided into their car, dropping into the ditch. When they got out, he was a UFO. When he opened him, he had a beard, mustache, ball of baby. It seemed like he brought him by the wife asked him to adopt when he wanted to play him. The child broke his finger and had immense strength in the child. One day, father thought to clean his beard cam, but as the shaving was completed and tilted head, then he was nagged. The little mustache had risen again. By the age of 5, his mustache had become like a 45-year-old man. The father took him to the doctor, but the doctor couldn't do anything either. The doctor also fell out of a lightly shock. However, this child was very sensible. If the ball went under the car, it would have taken out by itself without bothering anyone. In the exam, he tried to see the answer of friends, but an obese boy looked at and was angry and covered the copy. Seeing this, he started staring at loudly and burned the copy with his laser light. Once she wanted to swing her on the swing for the help of a girl. The girl was saying repeatedly, "Push out loud. Don't you have the power?" She took full force, and the result was that the girl flew by herself. In a football match, when he became a goalkeeper, he didn't kick the ball. The viewers began to scream him stupid. The boy was filled with anger and reached the anti-team goalpost, crossing the entire field with a straight ball. He showed a game that nearly got to be on the fat boy's life. Although he was very excited, the all-caved mood worsened. Nobody paid attention to him. The boy, whose name was Alex, was surprised. Why? The father explained to him that if he wants to live a normal life, he would have to hide his power, otherwise people would consider him a strange creature. Alex assumed and always hiding his power, believing his father's talk. When his 10th birthday came, no classmate came to party. Then he felt the real pain of loneliness and sadness. He wanted his mind. I would be an ordinary person. After this, he hid his power and won it for 35 years like an ordinary person. Now he had become a failed salesman. He uses his power alone. That office never reaches timely, because out of bed could reach the carton in just 3 minutes. The boss needed cold beer, so he blinks on the tap and the water would immediately cool like the snow. Then one day he got his college crush Sophia. He called Sophia for the dinner that evening, both laughing and were thinking where would it spend the night. But then some bullies besieged them. Sophia got angry, but the goons began to talk about him instead of obeying his talk. Even he told Alex to old monster. Hearing this, Sophia couldn't bear it and rolled a gold a strong spat. Gunn started teasing Alex by considering Sophia a dabbing girl. He said, "I can only fall it off a finger." The Mishwalan quietly said, "It is impossible." Although he kept angry, and actually he fell off a finger, but nobody noted that he had cracked the nearby tiles. He wanted her to hide his power throughout his life. But then, a metro train suddenly uncontrolled when coming home. He knew there were innocent passengers on the train. Some late he hesitated, but then a board appeared on the wall, written on it, "Now time has come." Just what was then. He ran like electricity without late and stood up to stop the metro. Passengers were already scared. When they saw a shade like a human outside the window, they screamed with fear. They felt like a ghost had appeared. He stands in the position to stop the train from all the power. The train was about to come at the metro station. The result was that the metro bounces him off by collision at 3,000 kilometers per hour. He went to the glass, while the metro's driver was quite sure. Then Alex suddenly jumped out of the train and quickly sharpened by running train. The driver thought maybe there's an confusion. He reached the direct final station and broke the fire safety box from wharf and tied the pipe to the pillars engaged in the sides of the traveler. The nearby passengers could not understand what's happening. After this, Alex once again came to defensive currency. As the train moved towards him, he stopped all the time. The pipe of fire safety really came. Alex also showed thumb, but the train ran back non-planking. Now his divine power had opened up before everyone. He quickly ran from there without care. But surveillance cameras recorded all, and this scene was seen by a technology tycoon Eva. She was extremely excited, as she was looking for this beard for 25 years, and when she returned home, Alex heard suddenly ear-tearing voice. It was Ava, who was calling him from the town away. She was saying she could tell her real identity, and that sound could just hear. His head was going to burst, even turning it to the bus's iron pipe. He was restlessly descended from the bus and walked in that direction. Once there, Ava said that he is not human being, but a creature from another planet. She wanted her to return with her to that planet. But Alex felt all this madness, and he started to turn. Then Ava showed Alex his crush Sophia with his power. Still he stayed when he went. Then a man of his ran with a bottle and threw off high, but just his clothes were dirty. Alex holding his hand and pushing light, and he flew in the air and his hands separated. Actually, that man was a robot. Seeing Alex's power, Ava became more sure that he was his searching human. He immediately called his most powerful guard team. Alex just shake his hands, but a hole comes and pushes his chest. He doesn't even shake. The second electric poles hit his waist, but Alex was absolutely adjacent. The rest of the goons were also broken. If someone tried to drop. Seeing one-on-one wise, Alex showed its power, and all flying and fell. Yet they weren't ready to lose. Seeing this, Alex quietly ran away. But Ava had now caught her weak vein. The robot that night cleaning the company was called. He took out the sample of DNA from the glass of Sophia and uploaded to the network by itself. Then the company's owner came to hear noise. He saw this and was surprised. He wanted to remove the robot's plug, but he got out of it loud electricity and suddenly ran behind the owner. The owner saved life and ran around here, but the robot continued to follow. And then he grown up to 6 mechanical feet. The owner picks up a tool with fear. Meanwhile, 2 workers also get there. The 3 together finally destroyed that robot by breaking down. When the owner looked at the computer, it was discovered that Sophia's data was already successfully uploaded. He was afraid that Sophia was not in danger anywhere, so panicked and got out looking for him with a robot. But the look she saw was very strange and embarrassing. Then came Eva from behind, and there was a new Sophia with him too. On the other hand, Alex felt something strange. He returned home and started asking his parents the truth of his birth. When it was difficult to hide, parents took him to the warehouse. An alien ship was standing there. On him, he came to Earth. She touched the button incredibly and suddenly had a video projection run. He was his real father, who finally told him the whole truth. In fact, he was really an alien child. But on the day of his birth, Thanos attacked. For her safety, parents sent him to Earth. But the ship went off the way, hitting a satellite and fell on a farming land in Spain. At the same time, an elderly couple saw him and saved him. Thanos sent his daughter Ava to find and end her, but it was searching for more than 30 years. Now it had a huge responsibility on it, growing up and returning to save your real parents. His real father also told that he has the ability to fly. Mom happily went crazy. Now it turns out that her son is a Superman. He prepared a superhero dress for her special. The son was going to jump from the wine roof, and parents were standing down and teaching him the courage, as well as teaching actions like flying gestures. As he leaped, he fell directly from the beef to the ground. But the next moment he stood up. In fact, was congenital power within him. He also knew he could fly, just couldn't understand how to use this power. He tried, but failed. Then some little kids went through there. He thought he's a crazy man who stands wearing women's underwear. They pointed on him, and he also unintentionally made a return point. But then the kids were afraid and left the bicycle. In fact, he swam in the air. Now he understood something. He flew and had to get out. But it was clear that he couldn't completely control this power. He further high and flying away, eventually dropping straight into the sea. Asking the sailor on the coast, he found out that he has now reached the second hemisphere. He tries to return home again. This time he went into farms, where he met a painting from the farmer. Both of them did an hour, but couldn't find the way. So he flew again and somehow returned home. But as soon as he reached home, the woman who looks like Sophia came in front of her. Alex was desperate and took him to the room. But he didn't know that he was actually a clone robot. Only one eye could close, and from behind Ava was controlling him. In fact, she wanted to celebrate Alex that she himself returns to another planet. But it wasn't intended to leave Alex human life. Ava got angry and decided that he would now adopt a rigid way. He said, "I never tried this. There's no option left now." Robot lifted Alex and threw out Alex directly fell on the first floor. Then he thought something was wrong. He started preparing his war dress and wearing the fight, but the clothes were so tied that it became difficult to take off. Her parents began to help her and shed off her clothes. Meanwhile, the robot suddenly made a strong attack. Alex rebounded the frippen, but the Friday donation became cropped. The robot took her throat. Alex couldn't tolerate and throw the robot away from a vigorous hitting. Mom came to help too, but she was easily taken up. In nervousness, Alex lifted the goat's head and gave the robot's head. Ava was filled with anger and decided to use real Sophia to trap Alex. Alex thought Sophia was in danger. He went to find him so that he could tell him the truth. When Alex told him the truth, then Sophia thought he'd go crazy and non-smoking. He tried to fly to give evidence. Then some people caught his throat. He thought he came to steal their thread. Meanwhile, 2 robots took up Sophia. Then Ava called Alex and said Sophia came to save. But it was a trap, inside of which his ears began to burst with the voice of witch. Alex fell off the pain. Both partners began talking sweet to wake him, but there was no impact. Suddenly the owner abused him and was awesome. He slowly began to rotate when he heard the abuse. The more abuse the partner gave, the more powerful it became. He broke the iron wall with his power. But then Thanos received news from his daughter and he reached Earth. But by the time they reached, Alex had flying with his associates. In anger, the father called his daughter Nick Me and gave abuse. When Eva did not suffer humiliation, he pulled his father's oxygen pipe and he died immediately. He himself took the place of father and swore that all Alex will return as much as he has suffered. After some time, she was soaked with Alex. Her chair suddenly changed to a huge machine warrior. He shot at Alex and swallowed his father. Alex tried to stop, but he was throwing him into the football field by holding like a chickpea. Everyone was surprised. He ran away like the mesh and came back flying so that the machine could trap. But the trap went to her mother, and mom also fell to her father. She was surprised how she came here. Alex's screws flying in the air were ducked on the ground, and the machine crushed it repeatedly by the feet. As soon as she was about to end Alex, the curly hairy partner broke his attention, but also got into the machine himself. Sophia began to call him. 3 people inside also started giving him cheeks. Alex slowly came to sensation. When the robot was going to absorb Sophia, Alex stopped her hand completely and broke it. Now the robot's power was very weak. Sophia asked him to think how to drop him and retreated himself. Alex suddenly suggested a solution. She breathed the robot, which made the eyes of Ava blurred, then pushed light, and the robot was completely destroyed. All people were free. Thanos lost. Ava also got stiff, and her real parents became safe too. do. Finally, Alex sent Ava back to her planet from the spaceship so that he doesn't bother them again. He also sent there to fake Spider-Man. And Alex began living a hex fair and naughty happy life with Sophia.